Hello, entrepreneurs. So, misinformation. There is so much misinformation out here about businesses, about taxes. I am constantly receiving phone calls. I receive new clients all the time who come in with bits and pieces of information. One of the things I heard recently was I had one person call me who thought that they could use their W 2s at will. No. Whatever year you worked, if you missed the W 2 and the IRS didn't catch it, great. Whatever year you worked, that's the only year you can use that W 2. You do not get to go back and claim it because you didn't claim it the year before. I had one person to call and say, hey, I found a loophole. What if I write a rent write out a rent receipt to myself because I work from home and all of this? Let me tell you something. You must keep up with the law. See, for years, we have a lot of people, and I'm not trying to blast anyone, but we have a lot of people who've done their own taxes and they got bits and pieces of information, and they like to go and spread it to the masses as if they really know what's going on. And that's not so. And when you start spreading bad information, and just because they get away with it, because that's the thing. I tell people all the time that the IRS doesn't audit everybody. There is a percentage, there is a pool, it is random. However, there are things you can do to trigger yourself to become a person who is audited by the way you prepare your taxes. And you've got to check out my other videos where I talk about numbers don't lie, different things like that, because there are things that you can do. Well, when people with misinformation get away with the tax year or get away with several years, all of a sudden their information that they have nothing to back it on becomes law because they've gotten away with it. The problem is that if you listen to them and you go to them, you don't know how that's going to end up. And at that point, when it ends up where you're in trouble, that friend is not going to talk to the IRS on your behalf. And trust me, you don't want everybody doing that. You only want somebody who is knowledgeable to speak on your behalf. And if they're not knowledgeable, do not have them stand up for you with the IRS, because that can get you into more trouble. Don't even stand up for yourself with the IRS if you don't know what you're talking about. So the whole idea of all of these different things that people want to do to convince or tell the IRS what's going on, you need to make sure it makes sense, and you need to make sure it follows the tax law. So writing rent back to yourself in order to say, hey, this is how I use my home office, that doesn't really work. Because if you're going to write off your home or part of your home office as a expense, you have to have several things in place. You've got to have an EIN. You've got to be set up at least minimum as a single member LLC. And then you've got to go to the extra step to ask the IRS to consider you as an S corp. Because the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 totally changed the write-offs that you could do as a sole proprietor. Why? Because everybody had a hustle and everybody was claiming to work for themselves, and they were claiming deductions. So one thing about Congress and one thing about the rich and the greedy, they don't want to miss money, especially money from hardworking citizens. We figured out how to survive around these jobs, how to make our hustle work. Well, guess what? Everything that we do, they want us to be taxed on it. That's why they did the tax cuts for the rich, because they figured out they could pull more from us. They could put the burden of the taxes on the people who make less money. We pay more taxes. So that Tax Cut and Jobs Act bill covered a lot. And while a lot of people were not looking, were not paying attention, that is something that a lot of you are dealing with right now. So, what am I saying? Stop falling for the okie doke. Do not listen to people who are doing taxes on the side, who has made the tax preparation their hustle. Get in the know, get a professional, make sure they know what they're doing. If they don't have e-file status, then that means they're not using a professional software, which means they don't have to do certain testing and they don't have to qualify and they don't have to pay. If they're doing your taxes on TurboTax, chances are you're not dealing with a professional. So it's been your girl, the Queen Bee. Make sure you do me a favor. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe. And make sure you tell people about it. This is good information. I just want everybody to have the best information so they can do the very best. Because once you're serious about your business, you're going to need someone like me to do your bookkeeping and your taxes. It's been your girl, the Queen Bee of Doing Business Better, saying do business better. Bye-bye.